Giving me an up-close and personal view. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the JoAnne Powell Show. I am JoAnne. We're coming to you from the World Center Broadcast Media, WCOBM.TV, Hollywood. We've been talking politics, what's going on up on Capitol Hill, and one of the big things is the Senate didn't have enough votes to repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act. That's something that they had been pushing for several weeks. They actually lost that particular vote by 1 point. A lot of people in the United States, a lot of American people gave a sigh of relief because now that bill is dead, and that's something that people kind of got up in arms and were camping out in front of their Congress members through the House when it was there. And it's something that the grassroots movement has actually made a difference and made an impact on what is happening up on Capitol Hill. As a result of that, we are now seeing that members of the Congress are willing to cross over the political lines to work with their counterparts. Now we're seeing more of a willingness to have bipartisan support with dealing with coming up with a plan that will reform more than repeal the Affordable Care Act. There are things about the Affordable Care Act that are definitely, there's room for improvement. So instead of tossing out everything and starting from scratch, now there's a new movement to work together to come up with a plan to fix what's broken and then kind of move from there. Joining me now to talk about this and some of the other aspects of what's going on in healthcare reform is Dr. Wayne Moore. He's an emergency room physician in Nashville, Tennessee. Thank you once again for joining us today.
It's a pleasure being here, especially under these circumstances. The skinny bill and the other Republican repeal and replace bill really did a lot of damage in the healthcare community as far as what we thought the future would hold. Let me just kind of recap a little bit. For 7 years, the Republicans have been trying to repeal and replace Obamacare, and yet have not come up with a viable option that Americans accept. Clearly, the Americans public favors, statistics show, favor Obamacare over the Republican alternatives, and clearly they sent that message to their legislators in Congress. The other thing, a reason why that lost is because it was done in backroom closets, so to speak. No hearings at all, and a lot of problems with exposure as versus Obamacare, which had hundreds of hearings over the course of a year. Republicans would not really admit to that, but it did happen. So we are very happy that happened. Those bills were put before Congress with rejection from every professional healthcare organization. So we're pleased that it appears that Congress is moving away from that and moving toward working together.
Now, being someone that's in the healthcare field, what are some of your thoughts about ways that we can make improvements? And I think one of the things to start out with is to listen to those who are healthcare professionals, because before it was basically white male lawmakers that were in a room in secrecy coming up with a plan that was supposed to, impact women and their healthcare issues and other things that were out there. That was the first concern I think people had. And my thought was always to include, people in the healthcare industry, administrators, doctors, nurses, the AARP. There's just a big spectrum of people that need to have an input, and even insurance companies.
Absolutely. We feel that our input is wise to accept the input from the major stakeholders in the industry. And we live it, we breathe it every day. So we feel that it's very important. One of the things that I think straight off and number one priority should be established, that health care should be a right for all Americans. And Senator Bernie Sanders, I think, is going to introduce legislation tomorrow, or he did today, that health care is a right. And once you establish that priority, then I think you can move on to other things to ensure that Americans as a whole receive health care benefits. And so if we could use that as a starting point, I believe it would help. But there are so many huge issues around that I think that our professionals can help.
And there's one area that I think emergency room medicine specifically is that a lot of people that don't have any type of medical care, they always end up in the ER, which can sometimes spike up insurance for everybody else because they don't have primary care physicians, and when there's something wrong, they end up in the emergency room.
Absolutely. The Republican healthcare reconciliation and the skinny bill, if you really look at the nuts and bolts of it, they were taking funds out of healthcare and giving savings to people in the upper higher bracket incomes by tax credits. So that was the whole goal of their policy as far as healthcare is concerned. Now, they tend to say that they were going to stabilize the healthcare system with that, but the actual effects were different. It would destabilize healthcare. Number one, it would send, as you mentioned, send people to the emergency departments and would increase uncompensated care. Now, when uncompensated care means is if I didn't have insurance and I went to an emergency department for a cold and a cough, that bill would be roughly $1,000 to start off with. If I received any other things like medications, it would be a lot more. Now, I would not pay that bill, and people can go to the emergency departments and not pay their bills. So that adds a financial burden to the hospitals. And these hospitals have unfunded care. Now, what happens, hospitals can help themselves a little bit by increasing costs to middle-class Americans, raising their bills to pay for those uncompensated care patients. And so that's one of the ways that it really hurts us in the long run, so to speak. And then you clog up the emergency departments with all these patients that could be taken care of at their primary care. The other effect that is happening is hospitals are closing all over this country because their uncompensated care levels are so high. So, and especially in rural areas, hospitals are closing their doors left and right.
Wow. Well, we're going to have to take a quick break. We're going to continue the conversation. You are watching the JoAnne Powell Show.
If you are an adult that began college and has not finished your college degree, let me put it to you straight. If your lifestyle and your standard of living is not becoming to you, then you should be coming to us, Oakwood University Elite Program. We are the fast, flexible adult degree completion program for the busy adult, like you.
Register today. Go to oakwoodleap.com or call 256-726-7098. It's time to leap.
I'm JoAnne with the JoAnne Powell Show. You're watching the World Center of Broadcast Media, WCOBM Hollywood.
thanks to Oakwood University and the LEAP program, I have now a college degree. So to the Spanish-speaking members of this community who feel that the LEAP program is something you should consider, I would say, ánimo a la universidad. Considere el programa LEAP de Oakwood University.
Go to oakwoodleap.com or call 256-726-7098.
Seize the Day Scuba for your best scuba experience above and below the sea. You'll find friendly staff, experienced PADI certified instructors, and state-of-the-art scuba equipment and gear. Join our dive club and we'll help you plan memorable scuba excursions. Immerse yourself. Seize the Day Scuba, serving Southern California. Call 949-220-0500 to create your scuba experience.
When I first started into the program, yes, I had doubts. I was really impressed with Oakwood University, with the faculty and the staff and the student body. It was a really good experience, and I would definitely recommend it to anyone who was thinking about going back and finishing their degree.
Register today. Go to oakwoodleap.com or call 256-726-7098.